Hello fellow Magic players, this is a best of 3 between my mono black splash blue and red deck against Henrik's red white stuff. And I win the roll of to start. And that's a very good opening hand. And there's a twister. Would have liked to have had a second land in that hand so I could drop the Chaos Orb as well before I twisted. But can't complain. At least I have 3 mana sources and now 4 mana sources out. There's the Lotus, Dark Ritual, Night Lotus. Oh no, is it? Yes, this is the Mind Twist. So it's eerily similar to the game against the blue-red robot deck, and okay, but this time this player he draws a lot of mana, so perhaps he can make something happen here. Oh, there's the Shatter, one of the new cards I put in the deck, but I think this game is a foregone conclusion at this point. I'm surprised how that this happens again so recently. These plays are not that common, but they're very strong. A tutor for a Jusum here, I think that's overextending myself actually, because he has a City of Brass and could draw into a Swords to Plowshares. The better play here would be syncoding the last City of Brass and just keep on attacking with the factory and hope to draw into an attacking creature, I think. Or just going for an Ancestral Recall. But it paid off. It was a big gamble, and now I drew into another Jusum, and at least it'll put Henrik out of his misery pretty soon. And there's just the Jusum in hand, but I'm not electing to play it. And the reason I don't do that is because and it could have a balance, or I could draw into a balance, and that would be pretty annoying. But actually, coming to think about it, if you drew a balance and played it, I'd have to discard my Jusum Djinn, so I should have probably played it. Anyway, that was hardly a game, but still, it counts towards the final score, so that's 1-0 for them on a black deck. So that is this time it's a more relaxed start with the City of Brass. But okay, I got an Ancestral Recall in the opening hand there. So Henrik has a lot of attackers at this point, but I have a huge card advantage. Playing a Black Lotus. And using it. Okay, this time it wasn't the Mind Twist, it was a Singular Vampire. I think the reason why, I already concluded that this would put me at a tremendous card disadvantage because he would probably Swords to Plowshare it immediately. The reason why I spent a Dark Ritual on it instead of just using the lands available is because I needed the factory to block the Savannah Lion. And if I had used the City of Brass, I couldn't block, and I would have taken 3 damage. And I didn't think it was worth it against Henrik's deck. And I don't have mana trouble in hand here, so I can block with the factory with no trouble. Here's the Blood Moon. This is potentially a pretty big problem for me. So I have 2 mountains at this point. But I get really lucky and get a Chaos Orb, so let's see if I shouldn't miss. If I miss, it's very bad. Okay, I don't. So, and the reason I don't take damage from the City of Brass here is because it's a mountain when I play the Chaos Orb. Strip mining that plains I did before, that was a mistake. Could have stripped mine the factory, or I could have waited for something else. See if I could mana screw him at some point. I don't know what I was thinking there, as he already had a plains, but I probably wanted to slow him down a bit. Stone Range the City of Brass, that's on the other hand a valid target. It's an early City of Brass mana fixes my deck a lot. It also indicates, I'm not sure, but it could indicate that he has bolts and stuff to destroy the factories with, since he doesn't target them. So he would like me to block with the factory now, so he can destroy it with other means, would be my guess, but I'm not sure. Push down a troll. No, he doesn't attack. Okay, so perhaps he can't remove the factories then. We put down a Serendip. That'll fly right over that troll. And it can block either of them if I want to. But it does do me some damage. He's contemplating attacking. Okay, so he has a bolt in hand, and I can actually see it at this angle. Well, not in the game, but as a spectator I can see it from the camera. So he attacks with both, and I know he has a bolt, so I'm pretty sure he has a bolt, so I just block the Summon Lion in order to at least take that down with me, as the troll will just regenerate. So that's now I have 3 mana sources. That makes it impossible to play Underworld Dreams, but if I do that I can't block the factory or the Sedge Troll. But I can use a ritual, and now I have enough mana to block them both, and the factories can pump themselves, so they will survive those blocks. But he attacks anyway, so I guess he has another bolt or maybe a shatter. I suppose we need to draw it out. Anyway, so I block and the factory taps itself. So then he bolts it. But I kept enough mana untapped, and then I Terror the Sedge Troll. A different kind of play could have been to Terror the Sedge Troll the round before, but then I wouldn't have had enough mana to attack with a factory and pump it, so he would just block me with a factory. So I waited with the Terror in order to see if he perhaps played a more dangerous target than that troll. But without the Sedge Troll I can attack with the factory, and he has, as far as I remember, an empty hand, or as far as I can see, an empty hand at this point. Attack again. All the while he keeps taking damage from that Underworld Dreams. At this point it's always very dangerous, because I can just, every turn I draw, if I draw a wheel or if I draw a Time Twist, it's game right there. If I don't, I draw a Red Mox. Attack again, and he Divine Offering. Okay, so he has Divine Offering in his main deck. As said, Henrik has a lot of removal. But he needs to do something with that Underworld Dreams. Gets a land tax, that's not what he needs, but he has a factory and he attacks with it, and I immediately bolt it. So I count the lands to make sure that he can't activate the land tax. And we are at the same number of lands, so I probably should make a land drop at this point. Especially since I have a clock on him. Time is on my side at this moment. And there's the wheel. So that's probably game. 7 points of damage, and another point of damage when he draws. Ritual. Ooh, into a second Underworld Dreams. So at the moment my deck has changed from a mid-range beta deck or aggro deck to a Dreams combo deck. It's the two main lines of play this deck can do. I just wait for him to take the damage and then I bolt him. That's pretty cheeky. Okay, so I can't complain about these starts. That's 2-0 for the mono black deck. And luck is definitely on my side here. But let's see how this is the final match. And I can play for glory at least. Pride. And I can see if I can get a 3-0 victory here. Okay, that's not the best start, playing a strip mine and then giving the turnover. Okay, that's a City of Brass. A time walk. Library. Now the deck does what it usually do, a lot of early engines. Oh my god, that's a wheel, and I almost emptied my hand. At this point it's almost, well, it's almost annoying, because I remember I was pretty frustrated because the odds of drawing a draw 7 and Dark Rituals in so many games is pretty remote, so it really seems like I'm cheating here, but I'm not, obviously. That's a Soul Canar. So unfortunately he didn't see play in this game, on this match, but he is he's in the deck at this point. So now I'm within lower range, and had a Mox Jet. So off to a very, very good start at this point as well. Stone is the Library of Alexandria. That's nice. He needs to get that away as soon as possible. I'll return the favor by strip mining the City of Brass, so as to remove his red mana sources. And here comes the Dreams. Usually I don't get these bonkers starts with rituals and mind twists and draw 7s so often, but these past couple of days I've drew them a couple of times. It's always a mixed feeling when it happens, because it's very, very strong, but in order to feel good about it, you need to really feel like the underdog in that particular game. And another rule of thumb I usually do, it's probably what most players do, but I'll elaborate on it here, is if you have a choice between playing Hypnotic Spectres and Yusum Jin in this matchup, and you see he's screwed for red mana sources, you play your Hypnotic Spectres first. This forces him to use his Swords to Plowshares on them, because if he doesn't do it, the Spectre, there's a risk that the Spectre will just pick it from his hand. So, and even if he removes the Spectres, he has now spent his Swords to Plowshares, so the second wave of attackers will be Yusum Jins. And he can't answer them with even if he draws into a single red mana. And even if he double bolts one, it's very expensive, but sometimes it's worth it. I double bolt the Serra Angel here. This is very expensive, but the reason being this opens the attack for me, and I get a card from him anyway, so it all adds up. But yeah, in this matchup, in general, white counters your Yusum Jins and red counters your Hypnotic Spectres. So the reverse is true if he is mana screwed for white and he only has red, then you play your Yusum Jins first, if you have a choice. Okay, so he disenchants the final Underworld Dreams, but I'm still very much in control with all those attackers, and his inability to draw red mana at this point, it's not really fair. at this point, but sometimes this is how it goes. Draws a card. This needs to be good. It needs to be an answer. Actually, 2 answers. For 1 white mana, it's probably impossible. So let's test it. We attack him, and he dies. That was some pretty fast games. It's hard to say whether it's because I tweaked my deck and put Stolkanar and Shatter in because it didn't do much in this game. I guess it was just me being extremely lucky. But the next matchup will be against Jinsolus Nyasu with the same tweaks as I mentioned before. I removed the Brain Geyser and the Mace of Ith, as I lately experienced that these cards are too heavy and cumbersome to play in this deck. I need more answers instead. Though in theory the Brain Geyser should be very important to draw into lower range, as I have empty my hand so fast with Dark Rituals, but it doesn't seem to work for me. I draw it often in situations where I don't need it, like opening hands and stuff like that. So I'm trying this out now. The next match will be between myself and Jens Ole. Thank you for watching.